Oh, yeah, okay. All right. It's already a good time here.
You got that right.
I love our next guest. These ladies are fun. Yeah.
All right, so Muhammad Ali is an international icon and one of the greatest boxers the world has ever known.
Yes.
And now a new documentary is giving audiences a peek inside the private life of the fighter. Take a look.
There's a lot of sides, and you hear about the fights. You don't hear about family that much and what that meant to him.
And I remember the moment I fell in love with him when he was, make me cry.
What's your dad's name?
Muhammad Ali.
He would always tell me time is gonna fly. He could foresee things and knew how important those things would be.
It was unbelievable, the power that this man had. And the little boy said, I got leukemia. And Ali said, I remember I told you that you are going to beat cancer and I'm going to beat George Foreman. And the little boy said, no, Muhammad, I'm going to meet God. And I'm going to tell him that I know you.
Wow, that looks so good.
It looks so good. Here with more on the new film, I Am Ali, the man behind the legend are Ali's daughters, Hannah and Miriam May Ali, and director and producer Claire Lewins. Welcome.
Welcome to the show.
All right, ladies, we were having a good time earlier.
I know. So let's continue the good time.
I know you guys are feisty.
Where did we get that from?
Oh, gosh. Well, you know what? There have been so many books, films, documentaries done about your father. So what inspired you all to collaborate with this project to get it done, and why now?
Well, Claire actually was doing the film, and we met her for the first time, did the interview, and she showed us one little 30-second clip of her film, and we thought it was just brilliant. So I then just said, you know what, let me just show you this. I had a CD based on, my father gave me these recordings years ago, and I made a little composition together, like on iTunes or something. I put something together for him and let her watch it and see, listen to it, and she just fell in love with it.
Now, Claire, how did you hope to make this documentary different from all the other projects about Ali that have come out over the decades?
Well, I think I was a bit naive, really. I mean, I just, I don't look like the sort of woman that would take on a film about one of the heavyweight champions in the world.
No.
And,
That's what we said. How's she gonna
no, I'm more of a flyweight. But I didn't even think about it. I just thought it was a great story. I've always been fascinated by him. And every single person in England, I don't know what taxi drivers are like in this country, but they say, because I was always carrying loads of books and I had lots of archive, and they say, what are you doing, love? What are you doing? I said, well, I'm making this film about Muhammad Ali, and they say, oh, I don't want to be funny with you, but how are you going to make that different? Because they grew up, a lot of taxi drivers, the black cabs, they grew up in the East End where boxing is a big thing. So I said, well, and my editors kept saying, how are we going to make this different? I said, why do people keep asking me that? Because I thought if I could just make it and filter it through my head, it will, and I just wanted to do it from a different perspective, really.
All right.
Most directors, I mean, there's been, like you said, he's probably the most documented sports athlete ever.
Yes.
And this is a great progression because most people, of course, you have to get the strategy and the social activism and just who he was as a boxer and a human being. But that's all been said, and I think Claire, with her woman's intuition, saw that who is the man, who's the father, and she just, like I said, the tapes Hannah has and her perspective, it really does give a new view to Muhammad Ali, and Ali fans are going to see this movie and go, this is something different.
That's fantastic.
Well, 3 years after he won his world heavyweight title, he was arrested for, draft evasion and stripped of his titles. He didn't fight for another almost 4 years after that, right?
3.5 years, yeah.
Prime years.
Wow.
Okay, so how did that affect his personal life, and we will be able to see that in the film?
I mean, my father, he always says boxing is a means to an end. And like I was telling in the last show we did, he was so profound in multiple ways. Most athletes are people, they're really good at what they do, and they're so focused on it. He was willing to give up what he was talented in because of a belief system, and I think that definitely made my father extremely special during that time to see that this man was going to give up his career, his money, what he loved to do for a living for a religious belief. And that rang true all over the world. I mean, he transcended all races and cultures and creeds, you know, and people are like, wow, who would do that? So,
You know, at the time,
hero.
he was regarded by many as, you know, a traitor to the country, but ultimately that is what made him an international icon and a hero.
right.
Claire, when you're documenting that period in his life, why is it important for you to get that right? Because for many years it had been gotten, I would argue, wrong.
Well, I think it is so key to who he is. I mean, he's somebody. If people walked away with one thing from the film, I'd want to say there's a man that actually lived his life and just true to his beliefs. And so to get that right, especially, you know, I haven't got that history of the civil rights. You know, I'm a white woman, and for me, I had to make that absolutely accurate.
And you're British.
I'm English.
Yes, just making sure.
Yes, I am. I'm
But
British.
because of your background, did you feel more pressure to get it right?
I felt more pressure to get it right because I liked the people I was working with. That, you know,
And the
we
cab drivers in the West End.
Exactly. By the way, are all coming to the
She
screening.
captured the essence of my father's spirit,
Yeah,
who
she
he
really
is.
did.
My father loves, I mean, everything about the film, down to the pink Cadillac that's in it. I mean, who he is, what he loved to do, everything about him is just the essence of who he is as a human being, and she captured that.
Right.
And I saw that in just a 30-second clip when I first met her.
Ladies,
So
talk to us about the man outside of the ring. What is it like growing up with Muhammad Ali
Oh my
as
God.
daddy?
My dad's door was never shut when we were little. Layla, I grew up with Layla. So his office door was always open. I mean, we're right there in all the recordings. He's talking to the president about the Iran hostage crisis in '79. He's talking to Michael Jackson. He's talking to George Foreman. He's talking to Colin Joe Frazier to wish him Merry Christmas. I mean, he's got recordings, 8 hours and hours of them, and we're always right there. The door's always open. He brought all of his kids together every summer. May is my, you know, we have different mother, but we're like best friends. You know, there's 8 of us, there's 9 of us total, and everyone gets along because hey, we're all friends, we're all buddies, and that's because of my father. You know.
I mean, we had a life under a microscope, but my father knew how to process his life and his fame with his kids to really allow us to learn the lessons from his life. He really did. And, you know, yes, we had to share him with the world, but his humility, his spirit, it's just really contagious, and we knew, man, that his heart is right, and you know it's kind of hard to go against that. And he did, you know, walk the talk, but he knew he made mistakes, and he was able to come to us and say, you know, I've made mistakes, I did this wrong. So I mean, you know, I just have to admire that because so many parents, you know, they're holier than thou, and I do this, but you can't do this, and I can.
He'd be
you
the
know,
first
he didn't
person
do
to tell you
that.
he's not
And-
perfect, not hide behind his
Yeah,
faults.
and I think the film, for the first time, it's a film about Muhammad Ali where you connect to him as a parent. That has never happened before. I mean, you could look at him as an icon and not really relate to that, but this is the first time someone can say, man, I relate to that.
Well,
And
when
the
did
way
you
she
all
tells
realize
it.
that he was an icon? You know, because some even
Right
be
away.
daddy. When did you know?
I think when I was
knew right
little,
away.
it was going through the airports and watching everyone stop. And some people dropped to their knees, crying and just bowing. They couldn't even speak English, saying thank you. I mean, people, when he didn't go to the war, standing up for himself. People were just so grateful for him as a true hero. We don't have true heroes anymore.
Yeah.
Athletes now want to be, you know, celebrities, period, just famous to reap the, you know, the successes of money and wealth, and they don't realize you have to give something back. There's a responsibility that comes with fame. So, you know,
Yeah,
he knew that.
I had phases of awareness. I knew he was famous little when Philip Wilson and Tom Jones and Sammy Davis Jr. would be
Elvis
knocking at our
Presley.
door.
Or
you
at
know.
our house.
No way.
But I
Michael
didn't know-
Jackson, after he burned his hat in the room with Daddy when I came home from school.
I didn't know what he meant to people.
Wait, you came home from school and Michael
Jackson was over, and he had just had a Pepsi Cola commercial, and I walked in the door and just saw him doing this. My dad's in the bed resting, and he's taking off his hat, and he's bald with tape. So I said, Michael
From the
Jackson, I went
burns.
crazy running around the house.
my God.
Of course, he never came back after that. 'cause
Telling that
I
man.
asked
He's
him
scared
why.
anyway.
I asked him why. I'm talking to a girl.
Telling secrets. Yeah.
Wait, you asked Michael Jackson why he was talking like a girl?
And
That's
James-
why he never came
He
back.
never came back after that. It was like his 3rd visit. It was the last visit.
And now we know
He
why.
had a good answer. He said, God made me that way. And I said, oh, okay. I was only 7 years old. So.
Okay, so we're surprised to learn that. Claire, what were you most surprised to learn about Muhammad Ali and his clearly amazing life?
Well, actually, what I was surprised was because when I found out that Hannah had these tapes, and it took me about a year to persuade her because she was very protective of them, obviously. She didn't know me, and she's also writing a book, and she wanted to keep this sort of exclusivity. So she'd give me these tiny little tasters, little snippets, and she'd send it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it'd just say, Daddy's tapes, and well, what's on this, you know? And it was just an insight into his life. And the thing that came across to me is his enormous love for his family, but also he's incredibly funny, and sometimes quite vulnerable, actually. And I found the tapes, because he can't really speak for himself as he once did, when you hear them, it's really moving, and you really feel he's present in the film. You really feel that he's there. He's taking you through his
telling the
life
story.
story.
Wow. And how is his health doing now? We know he has Parkinson's.
Parkinson's is progressive, but you know, and my father handles it like he does everything else in his life with spirituality and his faith. And he gets up every morning, and we call him in the mornings. He talks the best. He's clear, small, short, like a little voice, but you can hear him clearly. He has a daily routine. He goes to physical therapy. He goes to the Ali Center in Louisville, Kentucky. You know, when he shakes and meets the fans, he goes and watches films. He loves watching old Elvis Presley movies and old westerns and his favorite films of himself. So you know, he still is. He loves being Muhammad Ali, and he takes it with the gradual steps that come, you know, and people a lot of times see the Parkinson's and they see the effects of it and they think that he's not doing that well, he's frail. He doesn't eat as much as he used to be able to, so he does not hold the weight the same, but he's 100% healthy other than Parkinson's. Wow. You know, so his mind is still there, his mind is there, he loves being Muhammad Ali, he's happy, so people, you know, just pray for the happiness of his further journey here on this earth. Don't feel sorry for him, you know?
Not at all.
Well, he's a fighter. He's the ultimate fighter.
And we want the world to see that he is a father and a fighter. So when can we check out the film?
10th of October.
October 10th on demand and iTunes and
or
in theaters.
All right.
And this is going to be something that you will, I mean, people are going to, I told Claire they're going to bow down and kiss her feet. It is so, it's such a wonderfully put together, beautifully done film. Her talent is amazing.
I think it's, I'm
The way
just
she did
saying,
it,
I
it's
think it's
amazing.
Oscar worthy. I
No,
think
it's
he
gonna
can
win
win
the
an
Oscar.
award. I'm just
right
going
here,
to say
we heard it first on Arise. You heard it
I
first.
told her the first time I saw it, you're getting an Oscar.
it's going to win something.
All right, we're going to hold you to that. Thank you ladies so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Aren't they just
Amazing.
And you guys are great too. We love it. You're so classy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's the best compliment.
Yes, we'll take
Thank
it.
you.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.